Hello friends, welcome to Miss Joni's Book of the Week. I'm reading aloud from Earth, Fire, Water, Air. This is part 2, and we're going to read the chapter on fire. So, fire. Around the fire. The secret of making fire is one of the skills that sets people apart from animals. We can summon fire as we wish and make it cook our food, keep us warm, even destroy for us if we want it to. Yet you might live all your life in a modern house and never see a flame. There is something special about firelight and candlelight. They take us back to a time when fire warded off wild animals. Everyone loves a log fire, a campfire, or a bonfire because they give us back the feeling of adventure, of being close to nature. Candles in a church symbolize the soul, the undying spirit of a human being. We make a wish when we blow out our birthday candles, perhaps to celebrate surviving for another year. Part of the magic of candles and torches comes from being able to see how vulnerable a flame is. It can be blown out by the wind or a human breath. Human life can seem just as fragile and easily snuffed out. Fire mountains. Fire is not always tame and comforting. There are stories of twinkling fires called will-o'-the-wisps that lead people to their deaths in the marshes. When fire is out of control, it can be the most terrifying of the four elements. Forest fires that rage wildly leave nothing in their path. The most fearsome of all natural fire comes from the heart of a volcano. The Hindus of Java believe that a god lives inside the fire mountain, which is what they call a volcano. They can grow 3 crops of rice a year from the fertile soil on a volcano slopes, full of ashes from old eruptions. Even if their fire mountain has erupted quite recently, they still climb up to the crater every year to throw in offerings to the god and thanks for the rich harvest. People always want to live on and near volcanoes because the land is good, even though they never know when the air will be suddenly filled with fire and boiling lava. Night fires. There's nothing quite so magical as the contrast between a bright light and the night sky. The first night fires were the moon and stars, and there are enough stories about them to fill many books. If you look at the sky on a clear night at the right time of year, you can see some of the signs of the zodiac, such as the crab, the bull, and the water bearer. Aquarius? Is the water bearer Aquarius? You can see Greek heroes such as Orion, the hunter, and Perseus, who killed the Medusa, animals such as Pegasus and the Great Bear, and women as beautiful as their names, Andromeda, Cassiopeia, and the Pleiades. The dragon constellation, named by the Babylonians, is 16 stars arranged around the North Star. You can see it in the north in the spring. Trying to figure out where is north, because we're in spring and I want to go out and see this. Okay. Coiled forever around the little bear and hissing at Hercules. This is the dragon. The night sky is a living storybook. We like to add our own fires to the night sky. The ancient religions of Britain used fires at festivals for grisly sacrificial reasons. Today we enjoy fireworks displays and bonfires and jack-o'-lanterns. But whenever there is a really big celebration, such as the Chinese New Year or the 4th of July, there must be fireworks to dazzle our eyes and lift our spirits. Fire worship. The first people to make fire lived in China about 400,000 years ago. That may seem a long time, but it is recent compared with how long the other three elements have influenced human life. Earth, water, and air are all around us, but fire occurs on its own in nature only occasionally. Perhaps this accounts for the importance of fire in ancient mythologies. In many parts of the world, the first gods to be worshipped were sun gods, powerful fire beings who were thought to live inside the sun. The supreme god of the Egyptians was Ra, who shared his qualities with whoever was king at the time, or pharaoh, right? In India, Surya, the eye of heaven, and Savitri were both sun gods. Parsis of Iran and India still worship Ahura Mazda and have sacred ceremonies involving flames. Sun gods are usually male. Because the sun disappears below the horizon at each dusk and rises with the dawn each morning, many people believed in a fiery god who died every night and came back to life every morning. Ra, for example, steered across the heavens in a boat, pursued by a huge crocodile, which seemed to devour the sun at the end of the day. The reappearance of the sun in the morning was a sign that Ra had killed the crocodile once more. Stealing fire. There are many stories about how people learned to make fire from the gods or whoever else was its keeper. The Native Americans in what is now Canada told a story that it was Bear who had the secret of fire. He kept a firestone tied to his belt and used it to make sparks. One day when Bear was relaxing in his cave in front of a fire, a cold little bird hopped in and asked to be warmed. The gruff Bear consented, in return for the bird's picking lice out of his fur. This she did, but every now and again she also pecked at the thong holding the firestone. As soon as the thong was pecked through, she snatched the stone and flew away. Outside the cave, a long line of animals passed the magic stone as quickly as possible from one to the other. The last was Fox. He ran to the top of a mountain and dashed the stone to pieces. And he threw a fragment to each of the tribes, and that is how Native North Americans learned to make fire. Firebirds and dragons. Fire has its own mythical creatures. The legendary salamander was able to live unharmed inside a fire. I'm going to show you a picture of the bear first. The Egyptian phoenix was an extraordinary bird that represented the sun. There was only one phoenix at any time. With red and gold feathers, it was a beautiful bird believed to live for 1,000 years. When the time came for it to die, it built its own funeral pyre out of spiced wood, and the sun's rays set fire to it. A new phoenix was born from the ashes of the fire, symbolizing new life and hope. The fire creature we know best is the dragon. There are as many stories about it as the unicorn. Perhaps they grew out of people's glimpses of giant lizards. From stories and pictures, we know what a traditional European dragon looks like without ever having seen one, a huge, scaly serpent with wings and a long reptilian tail. It has fearsome teeth, a forked tongue, and huge nostrils out of which it breathes flame. The dragon's traditional food is young maidens, and its enemy a hero with a sword. The only dragon that doesn't fit this description is the Chinese dragon, which is a water creature. The eternal flame. How many miles to Babylon? 80 miles and 10. Can I get there by candlelight? Yes, and back again. Candlelight takes you to places you normally only dream of. It has a magical quality, fending off the dark while you hold it in your hand like a talisman. There is traditionally something sacred about a single flame, Christian churches use candles in processions and on the altar, but the tradition is still older. In ancient Rome, there was a temple to the goddess Vesta, who was in charge of the sacred flame of the hearth. Sorry, I was trying to remember. Goddess Vesta, goddess of the hearth. Okay, let me come back to that. Vesta had taken a vow to remain unmarried all her life. The young women who came and served in her temple followed her example and were known as Vestal virgins. A single flame is often a symbol of a single soul. Catholics light candles for the souls of the dead, and eternal flames are kept burning on many tombs of the unknown soldier, memorials to those who have fought and died in wars. Also, when the Olympic Games began, the high point this continues today. The high point of the opening ceremony is the carrying in of the torch to ignite the Olympic flame. This flame will keep burning throughout the games. What is her Greek name? Oh my goodness, someone get back to me with what Vesta's Greek name is. It's not Hera. I felt like it started with an H and now I can't remember. At Easter time in many Mediterranean countries, there are processions up to high places of worship. The processions are held in the warm, flower-scented dark, with every person in the village or town climbing a hill and carrying a torch or candle. At midnight on Easter Sunday, the vigil comes to an end with the lighting of the huge paschal candle, from which lots of new small ones are lit to celebrate the resurrection on Easter Sunday. And that is the end of the fire chapter, so I will be back tomorrow with a water chapter from our beautiful book, Earth, Fire, Water, and Air, and I hope you enjoyed it. See you guys later. Hasta luego.